All right. Welcome back to Battlefield Podcast episode 162. I think it's 162. I'm Ole, aka Chalk1, alongside Tim, aka Darkness429. Tim, aka 1,000 Twitch followers, Darkness429.
Yes, we did it.
Good job. All due to Titanfall.
Yeah, been riding that Titanfall boat. It's awesome.
Now, the trick is going to be to get all those Titanfall fans to watch Battlefield 4 as well. But
Actually, a lot of them don't mind it.
Yeah.
So it's nice. They cross over pretty well. So
you and I talked a little bit. I know this has nothing to do with Battlefield podcast per se, but we talked a little bit about it before why Titanfall is a good game for streaming.
Yeah.
And it is. I think it's definitely like it's fast-paced action, which is nice because Battlefield 4 can be really.
Yeah, there's highs and lows in Battlefield, but in Titanfall, it's pretty much stays constant action. So
plus, everybody wants to see you go num 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 when your Titan eats you in his belly. So, all right. So Battlefield 4 Naval Strike DLC finally came out, and we're talking PC because some of the consoles have had it for a little while longer already. But
right, yes.
Came out on Monday, and I actually thought about this just before, and I figured, you know what? Usually they release stuff on Tuesday, but I think they didn't want to do it because it was April 1st on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so. That would have been a horrible troll. Yeah, it was really weird. I got a lot of. I woke up and checked my phone, and I got a bunch of tweets with pictures saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm installing Naval Strike."
Yeah.
I was like, no. And then think about it, and then I actually woke up and went to the computer, and yeah, sure enough, there was Naval Strike. It was odd. It was very unannounced.
Well, it is, and then they said early April, and technically, we were still in March when it came out. But you know what? Yeah. We won't nitpick about it because then it's just going to turn into one of those things like, well, we were mad when we delayed it, and then we released it earlier than we said, and you were mad anyway. So, what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about the DLC. We'll talk about Carrier Assault, which we talked about in the last podcast, but now we've actually had a chance to properly play it ourselves.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the other game modes, like just regular old Conquest and Rush. Maybe some of the map talk.
Sure.
And we'll also talk a little bit about the AC-130 and some of the changes that they've made in the patch lately. They finally fixed the kill cam, thank God.
Yeah, thank you.
That was a personal bane of mine because it was just, I don't mind. I get killed a lot in Battlefield. My KD is just below 1, which is not as good as it was in BF3. It's like 0.98. I just can't get over that hump because then I play Rush and go 3-11.
Yeah.
So
right. TDM's where it's at, or like Domination's is a
I
good
played
one
a lot of TDM in Battlefield 3, and that's how I get a good KD.
Yeah, all those what was it
once
called?
You get those dice tags, that's about the only thing you can play. Well, the only thing people want you to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, 4 maps. Let's talk about Carrier Assault first. What do you think in general? We talked about some of our concerns before, that it might be a bit of a watered down version, and not quite as true to the 2142 Titan mode.
Sure. Yeah, we did say that.
And I think we were right.
I think we were very close to, I think our idea of what it was going to be was almost point on. So Carrier Assault is supposed to be a reimagining, so they say, of the 2142 fan favorite Titan mode. The whole idea is you have 2 carriers that you're supposed to go and attack with rockets and bring the shields down or the hull integrity down, and then get inside of it and then blow up the ship. Carrier Assault's a little different. I mean, the idea is still kind of true. You have to hold the points, and then those points have rocket pods, and those rockets shoot at the different sides, enemy carriers, and then the doors open up, and then you're able to get inside. But instead of blowing up actual objectives, you come and find a MCOM inside the carrier, which
we just happened to leave sitting in the carrier filled with explosives, just in case somebody should board us.
Right. Now in 2142, if you guys don't know, there was 4 objectives that you had to destroy. You literally just had to shoot at it and put explosives on it, and eventually it would blow up.
And they were like integral parts panels of the Titan, which were control panels, and then basically the engine room core. Right. So it kind of made sense that that's what you would do to blow some up.
And now in Naval Strike, you have 1 MCOM, which then once you blow up, then you get to move down to the engine room, and then you set another MCOM, and then you blow it up. But now you have spawn points that are permanent on top of the carrier ship once you crack it open.
Yep.
You then
Get
have
that
these
parachute
parachute spawn points that are permanently there. There's no way for you to actually definitively defend the carrier against an attack. So that was a little disappointing to me, honestly. I did last week's episode of Lowdown, and I put a Twitter question on it, and I asked fans, and I said, what was your initial thoughts of carrier assault? And everyone, for the most part, answered in the comment section. They said, I wish they would get rid of the spawn point over the carrier and move it out to one of the islands where there's boats. Have boats and jet skis and ways to siege the carrier. And I think our fans, I think they hit the nail on the head with that point. I think that they're definitely right, and they should have made some type of spawning point outside of the carrier, away from it, where you had to work your way up into the carrier.
See, one of the biggest changes, or one of the biggest differences in how carrier assault rounds play out versus how 2142 Titan mode rounds played out is that in 2142, a lot of times the rounds would still end purely from the Titans taking damage from the rocket pods.
Because
it was really tough getting in there.
Right. It was. You had to use these futuristic LAVs that had pod launchers on them, and then
which was awesome to do.
You'd catapult yourself on top of the Titan and go through one of the air ducts and get inside. And that in itself was very difficult because the Titan had defense weapons, and you could shoot at these futuristic LAVs as they were coming, and you were able to get defensive teams on top of the carrier to try to defend the Titan and things like that. And I have yet to see that gameplay. Now, I have to admit, the first night that Naval Strike was out, it was some of the worst gameplay I'd ever had. Nobody really knew what to do.
Well, yeah.
Carrier assault, they were still trying to figure it out, and I gave it a couple of days, and I finally came back and I played it again. And I have to say, it was a little bit more enjoyable. Things were more fluid. It felt more natural playing through the progression. But still, having those two MCOMs really kind of bummed me out. I'm not really happy about just the two MCOMs. And even the final part, there's no epilogue that happens after you destroy that last MCOM. Like in Titan mode in 2142, that after you blew up the core, the whole idea was to get off the
there was basically like a 15-second countdown or something to it blowing up.
You hauled ass trying to get off, and you got a medal. If you got that medal, it was holy shit. Holy shit, you were awesome if you were able to get off the Titan, because
there was a reward for getting off of it. Yeah,
there was. It was a really nice medal that you got for getting off of the Titan, and it was a very hard thing to do. Now the game just ends, just comes to a complete stop, just breaks, and you're done. So I wish there was some type of finale, something that made you feel, wow, yeah, that was cool. Like the boat starts to break apart or something.
I'll say that the beginning gameplay on those rounds is very similar. Just basically, it's a Conquest type game mode at that point.
Right. No, exactly. It's the progression to the carrier is the same.
Yeah.
It's all about holding objectives and that constant pull of conquest, which exactly how 2142 was, which is fine. It's just the getting into the carrier is a bit different, and I was a little disappointed. Now, I mean, newcomers to the Titan mode that we have now, I don't think they really care. I mean, it's new to them, but
right.
To
it's not a bad game mode. It's just I think the people that are saying it's watered down are the ones that have had the original experience.
Right. Exactly. Right. No, exactly. And so it's kind of like having Frosted Flakes and then having the Walmart version. You're like, well, this. So.
Whereas before you've never had cereal and you're like, oh my god, cardboard.
Exactly.
Frosted Flakes from Walmart are awesome.
But I think they did. I mean, for the most part, I mean, I know that there's limitations. I know that there's some things there's some hurdles they couldn't get over per se. And we will be talking to Dennis.
I'd be curious to.
Week. So, and some of those questions I was asked. So hopefully that DICE will allow me to ask those questions to him and actually get some answers on why was Titan mode designed this way in Battlefield 4 with carrier assault, and why wasn't it more of a true feeling from 2142?
Right, and I think they could have made a couple of tweaks to... I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have played well. Maybe they tested it extensively and decided that this was the most balanced way to have the game mode run, but...
Right, and that could be. I mean, that could happen, and hopefully that's an answer that we'll get. So
yeah, I mean, what happens now is pretty much that as soon as both carriers are open, the rest of the map's no longer important. Your main decision now is, do we defend ours, or do we attack theirs?
And that's definitely a thought that goes through my mind. And the thought is, like, once I see that my I was playing last night and I saw that my carrier was cracked open and theirs was like 54%. And I was like, do I keep capping flags to crack open their carrier and hope to siege it, or do I go back and defend it and hopefully the rest of my team will then go forward and take the MCOM? So like those decisions are really the game makers.
Yeah.
So
and I've
like,
had some good rounds, some fun rounds where we were defending our carrier, and at some point realized, you know what, we have a chance here because the enemy carrier is open, and we took one of our squads and we switched from defending to attacking, and we were able to just barely, like literally just before ours blew up. We thought we were going to lose the round. In fact, Jake was in the game, and the round ended, and he was already our team just lost us the game. And then it's like, no, we won. It was that close. But in general, I think the game mode does breathe some fresh air into it. It's sort of that combination of Conquest and Rush. I think the spawns on the carrier... See, my original fear was, before we knew that there was going to be that parachute spawn, was that, oh boy, I can see those carriers have 2 mounted AA guns. Yeah. And, approaching by helicopter is going to be impossible. But... nobody flies the helicopter to the enemy carrier to get on it because you don't have to. But to me, that actually would have been an interesting part of the game where you have to attack it by sea and by air just to get there. But
yeah, right.
Right now, the parachute spawn, I mean, at least it drops you on top of the carrier or in the water beside it. But there's 3 ways of getting into the carrier from the outside?
There's a front and side, a back side, and then there's the
actual bay.
The actual like bay, right? Yeah. You can get in and drive a boat up into, which takes you up into the engine. It takes you up into the engine room.
Right. So there's different ways of getting in there, and people tend to get lost there for a while, but they'll figure out pretty quickly what goes where. There's some weird issues with, like, when you're still attacking the first MCOM, the defenders spawn inside, and there's a door that they can go through that you can't shoot through from the outside. So there's some weird stuff that happens.
You know what sucks about that is that campers will sit there with C4 over the door and wait for you to come out.
Yeah.
That has happened to me multiple times now, where there is now. Don't get me wrong. That happened in Titan mode in 2142
well, they had
as well.
shields, and I think they were one-sided shields, right?
No, they weren't. They were two-sided shields. You couldn't shoot through it, and someone couldn't shoot through it at you.
Yeah.
But they would sit there with claymores and C4, and they'd wait for you to come through and blow it up. So,
but the difference was at least you could see through that shield. So if there was 4 people like bipoded up on the other side,
you knew. Okay, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to find another way out.
Yeah.
So some of those things are a bit frustrating. And once I finally stepped back and I was like, no. That was in 2142. I wasn't as angry about it, but I still got frustrated when someone is literally camping the engine room doors with C4 and it's just waiting for us to come out. So I wish there was some way to know, like, if they were on the other side, or there was another way to flank around, which I think you can come up and around the staircase, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
There's a couple ways to come around, not just going through those main doors. So it's really just playing through it and trying to figure it out.
And once you have, if you're down to your last MCOM and you have 20 people on the other team in or rushing your engine room, boy, unless your entire team is somewhat coordinated, you're screwed. Like, it doesn't take very long sometimes. I've seen battles that drag out, but it's usually around the first MCOM and getting down to the second. At a certain point, there's just like a point of no return, and you're just screwed.
Right, exactly. I have yet to see a clutch play of the first MCOM being destroyed and the engine room MCOM being defended till the end of the game.
The only way that happens is if the other team is really careless and has like nobody left to defend on their carrier, and you can catch them by surprise. But that's that's pretty rare for that to happen.
Right, and so hopefully as time goes forward, I mean, Monday we'll be hitting a week of Naval Strike, so hopefully more people will start getting the flow. And I noticed last night when I was playing, more and more people had a good understanding of how the game mode was working, and they were calling some really good shots. So I was very happy overall with the game mode. I just there's just some tweaks that I hope DICE realizes are essential to the game mode being great. Like, it's good, but it could be better, and I would really like for it to be great, because honestly, I would love to see this be an esport game. Like, I would love Level Battlefield to do a 32 versus 32 carrier assault, a very well coordinated carrier assault game mode with esports would be awesome, or even like ESL pick it up, because I mean 5v5 dom and 10v10 dom.
Well, it's a different thing altogether. It's a different experience.
Right, but I mean, and those are very organized. So to see extremely organized gameplay with carrier assault would be very entertaining for me.
What about them? That was one of the things that I think came up for the questions for Dennis that I saw. Had something to do with shit. Now I can't even remember it. Because you moved my head over to the whole esports thing, but
Oh, I do
we'll get back
apologize.
to it if I remember it. Conquest on the maps in general, like you and I are big Conquest players. We're not big Rush players, and that will come out when we talk about Rush in a moment. But
Yeah, right.
I actually think the maps are quite well designed for Conquest as you start learning them more. I mean, when you first jump onto a map that you've never played on before, especially if you go up against some people that 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 already know the maps and know what's going on,
Right.
you're always going to be at a disadvantage, right? Because you're getting killed from places. You're like, oh shit, I didn't know you could get there, or you
Yeah,
can get over
exactly.
here, or whatever.
Right.
But for Conquest, I've actually had a fair amount of fun with those maps. If you can, yes, a lot of it depends on whether or not you're on a good team or not. But what's your impressions of just the bare bones like 32v32 Conquest play on Naval Strike?
I like it. I mean, it's definitely focused around the naval warfare. Like there's more attack boats. The attack boat gameplay I've had has actually been pretty intense, especially when it's like 2v1 attack boats or 2v2 attack boats. It's actually really cool. Um, Again, the air gameplay definitely takes into account. There's a lot more helicopters. I've noticed the jets are
There is,
still
yeah.
dominant. But as far as just overall gameplay, I think they did a really good job. I think my favorite one so far has been Wavebreaker. I really like Wavebreaker.
That is probably the most unique map out of the four.
It's very
It's
unique.
different
It
from the
has
other three.
right. It's got a it's the whole going from like capturing the outside capture point and then moving inside to the submarine base. I really like that. I also like Operation Mortar. Operation Mortar is really cool because that whole like I have a really cool feeling when I'm playing it of capture King of the Hill. So when like you're moving up the hill trying to capture the point of the fort where the cannons are at is really neat. I like the struggle of having to climb up the hill or shooting at the guys trying to climb up. It's really neat. And the old cannons are pretty cool.
They are. I have yet to actually shoot it at something.
I wasn't sure how
Um,
I was gonna feel about it, but once I started lobbing these huge cannonballs the size of watermelons,
yeah.
I was actually really happy about it. It kind of brought back memories of Battlefield 2 Pirates, the mod for
The
Battlefield
mod.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that
So
was great.
Wavebreaker is the one with the submarine base, right?
Correct.
Yes.
That is the submarine
I,
base, right?
I actually quite like that one because it offers a different kind of game mode or different kind of experience than the other ones. All the other ones are obviously outside, outdoors, lots of island hopping,
Right.
lots of, like you mentioned, helicopters and air power involved and stuff like that. But when you go into Wavebreaker and you're inside that sub base with 3 flags in it, and it turns into an entirely different experience. And I actually think that is really well designed. Like I've spent a lot of time just circling around from those flags. It's like C, D, and E or whatever. And it's basically a symmetrical map. It's basically
Yes.
a mirror image on both sides, right? With the
Right.
outside flags being literally actually outside.
Right. There's one on each side where you have two aircraft carriers, and then you've got 2 flags on each side, and then you have 2 flags on the other opposite ends, and then you've got and the main flag inside where the submarine's at. So it's like you said, it's a complete mirror image on each side if you cut it right in half. But like you said, it's really cool going from outside, and then once your team figures out that they need to open up the floodgates to actually help the boats get inside, then it gets
Or you
really
have to
interesting.
open those. I've never
You
actually
have
seen
to-
them
Oh yeah,
closed.
yeah. What's really frustrating is when those gates are not open, and you have to swim out of your boat, jump onto the ledge, and then
Yeah.
go inside and open the door.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. But if those doors are open and you're able to fly an attack boat inside of it and blow out the stilts underneath the submarine and have it fall down, like that levolution effect is really cool, especially when you crush people with the submarine. I
I've
think it's
seen
great.
that happen. Yeah, half my squad
It's-
got crushed underneath it the other
Yeah,
day.
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool experience. It's like it's indoor close quarters gameplay or close medium range gameplay done really well, I think. A lot
Yeah.
of different even height levels because there's a lot of catwalks. You always have
Yeah.
to keep your eye open. And the two outside flags, since they are outside, are vulnerable to attack from helicopters and attack boats as well.
Right. Yeah.
And there's nothing quite like running into an enemy attack boat inside the sub base.
Yes.
And like panic breaks out.
Right.
It's awesome.
I've still yet to see a helicopter come inside, though. I know that you can do it. It's not preferable, but you can fly
it's not preferable.
you can fly a little bird inside the sub base.
I've seen one try once. He didn't make it past like 20 yards into the tunnel before he hit the ceiling and just backflipped.
You have to be skilled to get in there, but it's like, and I like that too, because it goes from very tense, like close quarter gameplay, and then once you get inside the sub base, it opens up. And there's multiple levels, so I overall like the gameplay just inside is great, and
it's one of those scenarios where if your team's struggling with the inside, usually that means that the outside flags, the 2 out of the 5 that are not, I don't mean outside the sub base, but on islands further off in the distance, are sort of easy to grab, and people tend to forget about those, right? Like you'll capture them at the beginning, and then all of a sudden all the action focuses inside.
I've seen them completely empty, like on
and that's 2 out of the 5. If you hold those 2, and you keep the enemy team busy inside, and maybe just hold 1, you're still at a 3-2 advantage.
Exactly. So. And I've seen it on a full 48-man server. No one outside. Everyone was inside the sub base, and it was like I'm just scooting around. It was like me and an enemy attack boat, and we were like literally just following each other around, capping bases. So it was weird. Like the gameplay can be very odd at times.
But that's one of the things I like about Conquest is that usually no matter what happens somewhere, you have options. Yeah, you can go do something else, which is why I've never been a big fan of Rush, because Rush obviously being linear.
It's extremely linear.
Pitting attackers against defenders with, 2 objectives that are pretty much usually close enough together to just be one area to fight over. It's just a clash, like a head-on clash, right?
Yeah, my first Rush game was last night, and I tried
in Naval Strike. You should say.
Yeah, on Naval Strike. My first Rush game on Naval Strike, and I tried playing it on Lost Islands. So the attackers start from the carrier, and the defenders are sitting there. And what had happened is they had completely made a formation across widthwise, and had themselves set up with attack boats and with hovercrafts and rocket launchers. And no matter what we tried, no matter what angle we came from, they were able to shut us down at least 50 feet from the first MCOM. And we were dominated in 5 minutes. And so I've never been a big fan of the linear gameplay that is Rush. Now in Battlefield 3, there were certain maps that I enjoyed playing Rush on, like Dam of Van Peak. I always enjoyed playing Rush on. Yes. That was a really good map for Rush. Like that was one of the only maps that I really enjoyed for Rush. But I have yet to find a Rush game in Battlefield 4 that I have really enjoyed and said, "Wow, that was awesome."
I almost don't mind Rush on Metro, but that's probably because I'm used to it and it's played very often. But in this one, when I played Rush earlier today, it was that same map, I think, Lost Island. And the biggest problem with it that I found was it's not so much that the map is not designed well, but Rush is so dependent on having a good team. And in the server that we were in, by no fault of the server administrator, it just happened that way, and teams were evenly balanced, but we were just not on the same level as the other team. So when we were attacking, we didn't get anywhere. I mean, and some of the map design may be a little bit poor because we tried to do a wide flank and the out of bounds area was pretty narrow, so you're almost being funneled straight at that. And I think I almost killed Peekaboo Bang because I tried to drive the boat. I'm like, oh, we're gonna go all the way around. That will be good to go. And no,
I had someone troll. I had someone troll me. I had someone troll me with the hovercraft. They took me all the way down to the perimeter line, and then let go of the hovercraft as I was in the back seat, and it just kept skimming across the land. And then there I was, like 10 seconds left, and I was like 100 feet away from the line. So
the other thing that happened that was bad was our team would, at the very beginning, everybody in boats, hovercrafts, everything we got, beach them at the MCOMs. Everybody gets killed. Now the enemy team has all our fucking boats. Awesome. So the next time we come in there, we get mowed down by those miniguns mounted on them. It's like, that's our boat.
Yeah, it definitely takes a level of coordination to successfully get through a rush round. So I always feel like we've always been able to play successful rush rounds if we have a solid squad together on TeamSpeak, making calls constantly.
Yeah.
So to have that level of communication is a must for Rush. And if you're just trying to go in by yourself, good luck, because very rarely do you get that perfect team that works really well together without communicating. So
Operation Mortar is the one with the castle ruins at the top, right?
correct.
Okay, so we played that one after as well, and we were defending, and I think it's the last MCOM at the top of the hill there.
Yep.
And Peekaboo and I we had just gotten raped on the bases below that, so
Lovely.
we're pulling back, and as we're running up the hill, she says, "This is going to be interesting or difficult because it's there's no cover up there, and there's all the tunnels that people can get to from downstairs as well." And I said,
Yeah.
well, it's a good thing they don't have a helicopter or something to rape us with. And as soon as I say that, the goddamn venom flies overhead. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Was Flight of the Valkyrie music playing as well?
It might as well have been. I didn't stay alive long enough to find out. But it's one of those scenarios where that's I think where there's some issue with the map designs and those kind of balance issues where literally having or not having a helicopter can make a big difference. Mobile AA is one that's always being talked about a lot, whether or not a team
Right.
has it or not on Rush, because it can neutralize anything in the air.
Yes, most definitely. Right. Yeah.
But there is a lot of destructions. I just saw that in the chat, which is also true because a lot of those buildings they're literally straw huts, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they
there's
don't
not
last
much
very
to them.
long to
Right.
hide behind. So some of the MCOMs get exposed very quickly.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
So I
Rush
think
is just
we-
not. I haven't
Right, I think
ever really
that-
had much luck with Rush.
Right. I think we can definitely say that Rush just doesn't really work for us and our manner of gameplay. Like if for some people that's all they play. They like that quote unquote PTFO. Like that just works for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always preferred Conquest because in that case, when things are not going well or they're going poorly for your
I had
team,
I
there's
had an
options.
amazing Conquest game last night where I came in halfway through the game and they had a significant lead on us, and then we finally got it all together, and it literally came down 7-0 tickets. Like those are the nail biters. You're like, oh my god, nobody die, nobody respawn. Let's see what happens, and it was great. So I always feel like those like unless you have like an amazing like clutch like disarm on a Rush game, like those are great, but very rarely do those happen. Inevitably, the MCOMs are usually just going to either get defended all the way through, or they're going to blow up all the way through. There's never like a nice middle ground unless you
Those
get like
rounds,
those.
they usually tend to end on the first MCOM or the last one. Rarely is it
Right.
like the second or third.
Right. So I feel like on Conquest you have a nice way to really defend yourself as a player and really make those plays.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about some of the weapons. I know we talked about them maybe
Sure.
before already because you've already been able to use them for
Yeah.
like almost, I don't think it's been a month, but three weeks probably.
A couple of weeks, yeah.
I saw you tweet yesterday that the SR2 is a beast.
Oh my
That's the only one I
God.
haven't unlocked yet because that's the one you need 20 boat kills for, like destroying 20 boats.
Right, you have to kill. Yeah, right. And now I got that last night, and I played 3 or 4 rounds with it. And for a PDW, that thing is nasty.
Does it have a good range? I find that some of the...
Yeah.
I'm always
It actu-
surprised by some of the PDW
Right. No, it
ranges.
actually has a decent range for a PDW. I mean, it's still short to medium range. Now, like kind of medium, like kind of getting to medium. But I was able to sit, I don't know, a good 100 feet off and was able to pick some people off as they were coming. It's got a really nice fire rate. It's not like the AEK where it just kind of like eats through bullets. It's got a solid fire rate, and someone was telling me to put a silencer on it. They said that once you put a silencer on it, it's amazing. But I was really just, my mouth hit the floor when the kills I were making with it. It was nuts.
Is that with the MP7 sometimes when I use it? That even at medium range, I'm tearing people up.
Yeah.
So I've yet to try that one. I've been trying to. I don't know why I do this to myself. But I've been trying. I'm like, I kind of need to play more with recon and sniper rifles. Maybe the DMRs or that new one.
Have you unlocked the new?
I have
sniper?
the SR338.
I heard it was horrible.
Well, it takes 3 body shots to kill somebody, pretty much.
So that's a very.
I think it
that's
does 50 damage. Stock.
That's off the gold
It's
magnum.
less
'cause
than the
gold magnum
DMRs. Does
Oh.
less damage than a DMR. It doesn't recoil quite as much. It's a little bit more stable, but it's still so
It's
bad.
semi-auto.
Yeah, and I get the thing is like if you could tap somebody
Mm-hmm.
with it, that would be
Right.
fine, right? But you can't do that because you shoot one bullet, and then the next one is off so far that you have to take so much time that even somebody with an M249 or an LMG or whatever from across the map can still just suppress the shit out of you and kill you with 80 bullets by the time you actually get to aim your third shot. That's if they're standing still, which of course nobody is.
Right. Yeah.
So
In a
it's
perfect world.
I like it. I want it to be better. I like the sound it makes. You remember the LaRue from Warfighter and how much fun
Yeah.
I had with that. I want something like that. I want a gun that makes me feel badass in semi-auto fire.
Right.
That's why originally when the DMRs came out, I was like, this could be good.
Yeah.
That's sort of like that, but I can't string together kills with it.
The only DMR that I've actually like really enjoyed so far is the Scar H. The Scar H, or the Scar H, the Scar L, sorry for the DMR. I think is that one for the DMR is the Scar L. That's the only one that I've really enjoyed and I actually have been able to get a significant amount of kills with is that one. So if you're looking for a DMR that kind of gives you that feel of the
Scar
LaRue, that
L?
I think it's the Scar L.
I thought it was the Scar H. SV.
Is it the Scar? It's this whatever Scar is for
Yeah.
the DMRs. It's that one. I enjoy that one.
I got killed with that a lot when I was in the
There
other
you go.
one.
Yeah, the Scar HSV.
But it's just, I don't know. So that's kind of a throwaway gun. I don't know why they put it into the sniper rifle class instead of DMR. I don't get that. It seems a little bit like we needed to have a semi-auto sniper classified weapon that's not a DMR. I don't know. I just wish those would feel more badass. Maybe I need to play a bit more with the Scar H. So I've been trying to do that, and just I don't know. I mean, I like playing Recon now that you have C4,
Yeah.
because you can still do something. You're completely helpless when there's armor or vehicles around, which is good to have on Naval Strike as well, because there's a lot of use of the C4, because you can use it in the water. What are the other weapons that we have?
The AR-160, which had a horrible visual glitch if you put a grenade launcher on
You
top of
didn't
it. Your
like
guy,
walking around like this?
you couldn't see through the bloody forearm. It was horrible. Which I'm pretty sure they fixed now. I'm not sure.
haven't
yet
tried
to
it
put
yet,
I haven't
actually,
yet to put a
since-
grenade launcher back on the AR-160,
Yeah.
so I'm not entirely sure. The AWS, which is a monster.
is.
I have run into a plethora of people using the AWS. It's a god gun, and
It's
I'm
one of those
definitely
guns that when you use it, you feel bad about it because you know that
Yeah,
whoever
you're
you
like,
just
"Oh,
killed
I
is
shouldn't have
cursing you
killed
for
him."
using it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely sure there is an imminent patch coming for the AWS. And then the SW40, which I have yet to get yet because you have to get 10 impact grenade kills, and I just haven't
Oh,
gone
yeah.
into I haven't gone into Metro,
Metro
and
Locker.
grinded out the 10 impact grenade kills. So I think I'm close. I think I have like 4 left or something like that. But that one's a pretty badass revolver. I feel like it's the Rex of Battlefield 4 because they nerfed the shit out of the Rex. Like they didn't
It
bring over
sounds
the
like a hand
stats.
cannon. Like it just the sound
It
it,
scared
makes
the
is
shit
like
out of
boom.
me. The guy killed me from behind. It scared me. It was loud. So, but it's a 357. Like I mean, that's a pretty loud round.
Yeah.
But it looks like from what I've seen when people use it, it's fast. It's a very fast action gun.
It is
So,
pretty quick.
So I feel like that's going to be the new Rex of
I think
Battlefield.
that's going to get tweaked though too, because I've seen a lot of people complain about its range, considering it has such a short barrel.
It's it's almost like
know?
like undercover police officer, like their ankle guns.
Yeah.
Like that's what it reminds me of. It's got a very, very tiny barrel.
Yeah, I think people have been able to get kills with it at a longer range than people feel like it should. That throws them off a little bit. But the AA mines, which we thought might be a concern before, I've only seen them deployed a couple times. They're really a non-issue, aren't they?
I have to retract every statement, any bad statement I made about the AA mines because they're a deterrent. That's all they're designed for. They're not a horrible thing that I thought they were going to be. They're actually very useful for the most part. They're great for defending a flag. I've noticed that if you put them down on opposite ends of the flag, and you can really defend a flag very well with AA mines. So I was very happy with them overall. And now I have to say that if you get them together with a support guy and you get like 3 supports and 6 engineers on a rooftop on Shanghai, that's gonna suck. It's really gonna be horrible because They
That's the
all
thing. They're like designed for naval strike, but they can be used anywhere. In Shanghai, it will just fuck up the map if they do that.
right. Yeah, the last Shanghai map I played, I haven't gone back yet, is everyone was camping on the rooftop with AA mines, and it wasn't fun. But overall, I really like the AA mines. I think that they're designed well, and I thought they were going to be like 4 rockets per AA mine, and it was going to be a horrible experience. But it
Just
really
one
isn't. It's just
or
it's
two?
one.
Yeah.
You get to throw down 2. It fires 1, and then it's gone. Like you can't repair it. It fires. It's dead. So and you're out of them until you can get resupplied by a support player. So we know how often that
The problem
happens.
with them still is, and I know they tweaked this a bit in the patch, is how easily a helicopter will lose stability and flip sideways.
It still
And
has
it's
yet
still
to fix.
happening.
I don't know why that hasn't been it has been focused on, because everyone has said that Alan Kurtz said that wasn't supposed to be in the game. That was not designed that way. It wasn't supposed to be one hit and you fall completely over. So
Well, they say use the gyro stabilizer to help that, but it doesn't. So you
No,
turn
and-
85 degrees instead of 90.
and why would I compromise other perks that actually help
Yeah.
me with a gyro stabilizer, which is still kind of useless. So
I still think that the entire... I should fly more in the jet. I actually got to talk to you about how you set up your mouse sensitivity when you fly.
Sure.
Because when I do
Yeah.
it, you should see me. Like, I'm moving the mouse over my desk every fucking where.
I ramp my DPI settings like all the way up, and it works out really, really well for a
I
mouse.
may
and
need to
keyboard.
do that because I have that
You can
quick
max
switch
out
button
if you
on the
can
mouse.
max out your DPI settings to
Yeah.
like mine can go to like 6400 DPIs. The pull rate on that is amazing, and I'm able to keep in dogfights a lot easier than I ever used to be. It's almost like feeling like I could with the gamepad. Like instead of using
Yeah.
my gamepad, I'm back to my mouse because I feel like I have a more accurate shot on ground targets and boats and whatnot with the mouse. So overall,
Right.
like it's worked out really, really well.
So I still got to look at that and maybe get some advice from you. But I tried flying helicopters a bit more lately, and it just isn't. It just isn't the same.
I mean, like you and I had a couple good rounds. Like when you're able to talk to your pilot or your gunner, it works out well. You're able to stay farther away because your gunner can actually take out infantry units
Yeah.
like he's supposed to, and then you can swoop in and take care of enemy armor or take care of air assets. But I'm still noticing, which still drives me nuts, is the helicopter that sits 3 feet from the ground, trying to kill everything with his rockets as his gunner's looking completely behind him. It's like
True.
the level of communication just isn't like it used to be. Like I remember in Battlefield 2, like you would always, even if you were with a Blueberry and he wasn't in your team speak, you said, "Hey man, squad up, let's talk to each other over VoIP."
Yeah.
I still yet to find that pilot that says, "Join Golf Squad, let's talk." I don't know. I miss those moments.
There's also so many. There's so many deterrents to flying now. Mobile AA, shoulder
Right,
mounted AA, jets
Yes.
that can still slow to a fucking crawl in the air.
yeah,
and they will just tear you apart, and there's nowhere to escape. You don't have below the radar.
right.
So I mean, yes, the round that we had that was okay. It was still nowhere near as good as rounds we've had in BF3 flying together.
Right.
I think most of that was literally because we were not hindered so much by enemy jets. And I think it was on Gulf of Oman, which doesn't have a mobile AA,
It actually does.
or it wasn't used much.
I think
'cause
we
didn't
were
have to
just we were
deal
just
with it.
suppressing.
Are you sure
Yeah,
it
we were
does?
suppressing the hell. Yeah, we were suppressing the hell out of it. Us and our team were actually keeping it at bay because we got hit by it. Pretty sure, like 100. I'm like 95%
Okay,
sure
fair
there
enough.
was an AA there.
But it's just the rarity of that happening, to me, has taken that part of the game and just it's not something I look forward to most of the time, which is unfortunate. On the other hand, we have giant sharks, so there's that.
That was a nice segue.
Right?
Very nice. That was awesome. Yeah. We finally I shouldn't say we. Jack Frags found the shark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can move on to the next topic.
Well, you kind of
Yeah.
ruined my segue by calling it out.
Sorry. I want to rant about that real quick. Everyone today during my live stream asked me, "Have you heard about the megalodon? What do you think of the megalodon?" And I'm like, it's an Easter egg. Like it's how is anyone supposed to figure out that you are going to you need to put 10 guys around a buoy and make a giant shark jump out of the water? Like For one thing, I think that they're just feeding some of this stuff to certain people to make it happen. But I want to know why. Like
Why
why
do
do we
that?
have this in the game? Why do we need a big shark? Why
Well,
do
we
like
don't. I mean, I think it looked kind of cool, and I heard somebody say on Twitter that they hope DICE didn't divert resources to code that instead of fixing other things, and I don't think they did. But but you're right. I don't know how they would have figured that out. Like how
yeah,
do
no,
because
I
it's
did
literally got nothing to
I
do with something that you would normally do. Just like the explosion on Hainan Resort, you wouldn't shoot a rocket at that
right, or
from
shoot the
there.
rocket at the mountains and make the Yeti yell.
Yeah.
Like those are kind of weird. But there was a post on Reddit. Someone actually took down all these poems from the Kevin 1942 guy, and at the end there's a drawing, like a digital drawing made of like 10 X's put around a circle. And so I was like, okay, like
Right.
what is that? What does that mean? At first, originally, I thought it was Lost Islands. I thought it was the islands around the
Hmm.
airplane. And I actually went in with spectator mode on Lost Islands and like was traveling around the map trying to find something that would trigger a shark or trigger. Well, it wasn't really just a shark. It was a
Something.
levolution effect I was
Right.
trying to find. But I couldn't find anything. And to me, like that was a logical sense. Like so, 10 guys are on a buoy. Like didn't make any sense trying to read the poems. Like the poems didn't even make sense. So like I don't understand who this Kevin 1942 guy is either. Like
Well, that
I don't
has
know what
something.
he's
There's
trying to
more
do.
to that, right? There's this whole search now for the password or whatever for the Phantom trainee prospect assignment and stuff.
I really hope this makes sense. Like the Phantom trainee. Like what does that have to do with Battlefield? Like is
No,
there
it
are
won't
they
make
leading?
sense.
Are they leading to something else? Like what's going on? I'm so confused.
I don't think it will. I think the problem that, and we talked about Easter eggs in the last week in His and Hers live, and whether or not they're distractions. But to your point is that they can be distractions when people choose them to be. And I saw somebody tweet yesterday that him and his buddies got kicked from a server because the server owners wanted to search for the megalodon
See, that
instead
ruins
of play.
gameplay. That
Right.
ruins gameplay. Like, okay, if it's a private server and it's locked, fine. Go have fun. But my issue with it is if I join a server and everyone is trying to find the megalodon instead of play, it takes away from my experience of the game. It'll give me a negative impact of the game. And that's what I'm afraid of with these Easter eggs. Like the Battlefield 3 Easter eggs were kind of funny because you inadvertently ran into them. They were there, like the 2142 ship or the
Yeah, even
pterodactyl.
that wasn't that far apart. Yeah, and the
You just
dinosaur in the tunnel.
you ended up running into it. Like those things were put out in the open. With a little bit of searching, you found them. These are requiring you to go into private servers and trigger at certain times to be at the same level with each other of synchronization. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So like I kind of missed the Battlefield 3 Easter eggs that were kind of like out in the open. Like China Rising kind of did it because they did the little Chinese man. But these are like
Yeah. Okay.
these big Easter eggs are I think hindering gameplay because people are gonna want to find them.
It would be better if they got triggered by something that you would actually experience in a good round. Like if your team did something really well, that would happen then. So that there's
Right.
some reward, as opposed to just having 10 people swim around a buoy in the middle of nowhere. But I don't know. It's just it's something that's there. And I know people like it, and God, YouTube certainly likes it because the amount of videos. about
Jack
that
Fragg's
are there.
hit over 1 million views in 24
Well,
hours.
he always. I mean,
He's
ever
never but
since he
still
got
like
the first few Easter eggs, he probably has like a team of people working to find the next one.
yeah,
now.
it's crazy. Like 1 million views in 24 hours over the shark. Like I saw literally every single large media outlet on Twitter and on YouTube were talking about the shark. I saw GameSpot, I saw
Yeah.
IGN, I saw Linus Tech Tips. Linus Tech Tips mentioned the shark. Like that guy is the PC builder from Canada, and he was talking about the shark.
Our
It's-
one PC builder. That's the only one we have.
Yeah, no, he's the Canadian PC builder, and he was talking about the shark. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. So, I mean, props to Jack Frags. We've talked to him before. He's been in our team speak. He's an awesome guy. So his success is inspiring. Like he's an amazing guy, very humble. So don't think that we're trying to take anything away from
No.
him at all. So, anyways,
And you know what? Because they put that stuff out there, someone will go look for it, right? I mean,
Right.
it's not like people are just hunting for things that don't exist. Clearly, this stuff's always been there, and they've been dropping more and more hints about it. With that whole what is it, KevinSimpson1942.com? Like, there's actually a website for
There's
it.
an actual website with just this weird, creepy picture of some guy's basement.
Yeah, very
It's
strange.
weird. Yeah.
But I'm sure it has something to do with netcode. But so I mean, that's there. Overall, Naval Strike though. What do you think as far as the DLC so far? This being the third. How would you rate it? Best one?
Best one so far.
Yeah.
China Rising was a bit of a letdown for me. I was not very happy with just the maps were not on level with the previous DLCs for Battlefield 3. It wouldn't have that like wow effect.
Yeah. It was like to me it was like the armored kill of Battlefield 4.
Very nice analogy. Yes, very much so. The bomber was very lackluster. There wasn't really much to it that made it like whoa. Like,
that had
was
potential,
cool.
and I still don't have the one kill or whatever. There's an assignment.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't have it.
I don't have the well. There's JDAMs, and then there's like missile strikes. Like there's two different like class of missiles that you can get.
Okay.
And I still have yet to unlock the second level of missiles because I just can't get a kill with the damn thing. Like, it's very difficult to kill like X amount of units with the bomber.
They did buff that in this latest patch. Yeah,
Okay,
they made
well,
the JDAMs do more damage or have a greater
nice.
splash radius or whatever. So maybe
Good, because trying to use the bomber with the JDAMs are horrible. Like you have to be like absolutely spot on, and even then, like there's no splash damage. So like,
yeah, you'd get an almost direct hit and not a kill.
Right.
It's not like you can just turn the thing around and try again.
Right, like the Battlefield 2 bombers, like those were like deadly. Like you did one bombing run with the Battlefield 2 bomber, and you were god.
I still want us to get a 2-seater fighter bomber.
Yeah,
I still want that.
An F-15, like an F-15 that were able to drop bombs and then guide bombs as well. Like, that was awesome.
I mean, some of the jets in BF4 have that where you can switch to the secondary and you get that top-down view, but inevitably I end up in the ocean that way. Because I miss that communication between the pilot and the bomber.
Yeah,
you know that we had. We went back to play BF3 months ago when we made that video before BF4 came out where we talked about Levolution and the dam, and we played Cooper Dam.
Yeah, right.
That was one of those maps where you could have a lot of fun in that jet. One person, you'd pilot because you've always been a better pilot than me, and spot targets. And you could do real good work.
It was also able to do barrel rolls with the Viper.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
Or the Cobra. Like, sorry, it was the Cobra. I was like, I can do barrel rolls again. It was like, there's a lot of things that I miss. I sound like an old fogey talking about the good old days.
Yeah, back when helicopters still turned upside down when you wanted them to.
So overall, I mean, I think this is the best one yet. I mean. Like I said, China Rising was very lackluster. There was no real Levolution effects. Like finally, like we have a real. It's hard for me to count Second Assault as a real DLC. So I mean, like it's going
fun,
back.
Though.
It's fun. It's great, but I don't really count that as like a real DLC, like an actual expansion pack.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So like I think Naval Strike so far has delivered with the expansion of Battlefield 4. It's opened up new areas for us. It's given us an actual like real game mode. New game mode, other than like capture the flag with Second Assault. Like I mean, a lot of people loathe capture the flag. It's just not a great game mode for Battlefield 4.
Duncan is such a troll in the chat.
I think the map design overall was great. I mean, it definitely beats the pants off China Rising. I think like their arts team and then also Dennis's team for like just actual like map design, they did a phenomenal job. I'm really, really happy with what they've done.
Okay, so they did also release a patch that came alongside the DLC on the PC, which fixed the kill cam finally, like we said in the very beginning of the podcast. They tweaked a number of things. I still don't think that they did enough to the mobile AA, if they did anything. They buffed the AC-130, which and we talked about this briefly before, and it was something that Patch on Twitter wanted us to talk about, the AC-130 in Naval Strike in particular. And I don't know about your experiences, but I've had experiences where it hasn't been an issue at all, but usually when it's there, it will tear shit up, and it's really frustrating to be on the receiving end of it. Now, you said that you're glad that they buffed it because it was kind of useless before.
It felt very useless. So these from just reading them, I think overall the fixes or the buffs to the AC-130 is warm welcomed. I think just from reading it. I have yet to use the AC-130 in Naval Strike. I've been playing a lot of Carrier Assault, so that option isn't there. So I will need to try to get into the AC-130 and really try out the different weapons. But I mean, seeing the buff on the 40 millimeter, actually making the 40 millimeter a real pinpoint shot. They said that you can fire up to 2 to 3 round bursts and actually be accurate and against infantry and vehicle targets is awesome. The 20 millimeter cannon has a lot more splash damage. I felt like whenever I fired this huge cannon, I didn't do anything. Like I tried firing. Yeah, it's exactly. I tried firing it next to an infantry target, and nothing happened. Like in the AC-130 in Battlefield 3, like you could get close to a target and you'd kill him, but you had a very long reload time to put the next round in. So there was like you either wasted on a couple of ground units or you focus more on the vehicles. Now I felt like I had to focus on the vehicles because I couldn't kill infantry with it.
Well, you can kill infantry with it now, because you can get screwed up pretty bad. And I think that the reason it can seem so overpowered on Naval Strike is because, especially on some of the maps, there's very little.
There's not a lot of terrain. Right. There's not a lot of terrain. Like
the only cover that's there stands no chance against anything really, because it's wooden huts and.
Like Non-Shot Strike. Like Non-Shot Strike has very little cover.
Yeah. So I've been in rounds where I'd literally spawn in, get screwed up by the AC-130, and then the process repeats itself. It's almost like I was able to pick all the spawns right underneath it as I came in. It's pretty well done, actually. But so yeah, I don't know. See, this is the thing, and I think this actually goes back to us talking about Titanfall earlier and the success it has seen. Is that Battlefield 4 has taken the rock paper scissors approach and turned it into such a complicated mechanism that, yes, the AC-130 can be fairly easily taken out by 1 or 2 good jet pilots. And I've seen that happen before. It's like every time I'm in it, that happens. Mm-hmm. But when that's not there, it reigns supreme on the battlefield. And Titanfall's kept things simpler. Like, I think a lot of things in BF4 these days are so complex. Everything from the maps to the things on the maps to things flying around to your weapon loadouts to the choices here and there. It's so much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Titanfall is extremely simplistic. Like it's just
compared to BF4, anyways.
And that's the thing. I think that's the issue when you try to keep true to the rock paper scissors model and try to keep that all balanced. You have hundreds of different variables that you're trying to keep on level with each other. Like that, I feel like that is monotonous and almost impossible to try to do. Like there's always going to be a slip up somewhere that's going to make it one thing more powerful than the other without any type of punishment. Like I always, like whenever we talk about this stuff, I always talk about players being punished for doing something. Like there needs to be some type of repercussion for you making an action, good or bad. There needs to be a repercussion. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like it isn't there. Like you are not going to have a repercussion for using the mobile AA.
Well, the trade-off there used to be that if you wanted to be effective in the mobile AA, or you wanted to be more than just effective, you had to venture out into the middle of the battlefield, which left you open to infantry, enemy armor.
Tanks, right, exactly.
Whereas now you can sit pretty far back and still have a very large impact on the game and be relatively safe, right? So that's that balance. You used to be able to fly helicopters and do quite well, but you could still be, they removed the secondary gunner flares and stuff like that, so that balanced it out a bit more. But you had below the radar to get away from jets that could move very slowly and basically tear you apart.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's gotten so complex that just some of the things, when you do a rock, paper, scissors with 50 items, at some point one of them doesn't balance well against the other.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I'm concerned about progressing forward, is that you just, to appease fans of the genre, will they have to add more to please them? Like, will we ever go back to a more simple way of playing? Will we go back to a Battlefield 2 style, or have gamers become so used to the overpopulated feel of Battlefield with all the customization? Like,
Right. I mean,
can we ever get away from it?
there's 4 different suppressors for every gun, pretty much, that all do exactly the same thing.
Right.
Stats
Right.
wise, they're the same. You know, you can unlock one, and the other 3 come from battle packs or whatever. So, I don't know how they'll be able to go back.
But I think for it to be successful, I think it needs to get away from
agree.
that. Like,
There's
there needs
too
to be
much.
there needs to be a more simpler rock paper scissors. Like, there literally needs to be a rock, a paper, and a scissor, not a rock, a stone, a scissor, a knife, a taser, a shotgun. Like,
Yeah,
it just needs
yeah.
to be just a rock, a paper, and a scissor.
Because at some point
it-
you get to the nuclear weapon, and you're like, well, what's going to beat that?
Right, it's
Oh,
like rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. It's like,
the
where did
premium knife.
Spock come into play?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird.
I mean,
Um,
there's benefits to it because it does keep things fresh. Obviously, the whole battle
It
pack
does
thing
keep-
is
it
a
does
way
keep
to
it very
reward
fresh.
people. So
Right.
you can get a suppressor without having to have unlocked it in the progression of the gun. But I don't know.
Right.
There's some challenges. One thing that, you know what, we never talked about, I sent you a link, a Reddit thing that was a supposed leak about upcoming DLCs
Yes.
that mentioned, I don't remember all of it, but it talked about, it was a supposed leak about some of the content in the next 2 DLCs, right?
Yes, right. Mhm.
Somebody mentioned snowboards in that. That was
I
permanent.
did see that. I saw snowboards. I'm like, God damn, where are we going with this? If there's going to be snowboards, I'm thinking James Bond. If you remember in, is the world's not enough? I think the world is not enough, and he's going down the snowboard, and there's guys on these like snowmobiles with the propellers and the parachutes. Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
exactly
yeah, yeah. Yep.
that's exactly what I thought of with the whole talk of snowboards. And now we have riot shields potentially coming with dragon's teeth. We might get something that teases the 2143 in Last Stand.
Maybe.
It's really crazy how far off the deep end people can go with some of these theories when it comes to new DLCs.
So when it comes to whether or not things are going to get simpler, I think not. I think it's just going to get more and more like that.
More diverse.
Snowboards, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next DLCs. I actually hope that we don't get them for a while.
No, and that's another thing that we had talked about on Lowdown was at the progression rate that we're going will be done by September
Yeah, 1 year.
ish. It'll be like right before the 1 year anniversary. It's like, so is 10, 11 months, is that okay? Is that okay to really like just finish it and then just have like a couple years longer support like with Battlefield 3 and then just axe it? I mean, I know for a fact Dice Gears have switched. Dice Stockholm have completely jumped
They're
ship,
working on
and
Star Wars, right?
they're on Star Wars now. They're working on Battlefront. Like, EA is ready to go. Like, them and Disney are ready to just kick Star Wars in the ass. They've got 3 different production houses working on 3 different Star Wars games. We have BioWare, Visceral Games, and Dice working on different Star Wars games. So Dice LA is now left with the task to finish Battlefield 4. So
Which I think they've always been tasked with. Like, that was always
right.
the
No,
plan.
and
but-
that was always the plan. That was one
Yeah.
of the reasons to have them there was to
But
do
so what
that.
happens now? Do we know when Battlefront is supposed to come out?
No, I have not seen a release date or an
Even a
approximation as to when it's going to come out.
Because I wonder what's gonna. So we've heard rumors of a police-themed Battlefield game, potentially third person, sort of like a spin-off.
Well, they
I
wouldn't
wonder where
actually
that leaves
call it
Battlefield 5,
either.
though.
I don't know. There's talks that it'll be made like the next one will not even keep to Battlefield. Like, it's just going to be a game made by Visceral that will have Frostbite 3, will probably have Destruction, but it won't say Battlefield in it.
Right. That's
So
the third person one you're talking about,
That's
or the police
yeah,
themed
that could
one?
be their spin-off. Like, I mean,
Have you ever
everyone
played the
is.
SWAT?
Yes, I have.
That would be. I missed that kind of game.
That was hard. I
It
didn't
was
like
hard.
It was really hard.
Because you couldn't fuck up. There was no rock, paper, scissors. It was just rock, and you better fucking had some. That could be interesting, but I mean, I'm thinking like Battlefield 5, and like, or whatever the next actual Battlefield title game would be, whether that's a 2143 or a Bat Company 3 or a Battlefield 5, something built by DICE Stockholm, because you got to think that they're the guys that are going to build the next true Battlefield entry, right?
They have to. I mean, for it to be a true Battlefield game, it has to be produced by Stockholm.
Yeah.
Like you
But
can't
they
have
probably wouldn't be able to do that for at least another 2 years.
No, they don't have. I don't think their production team is big enough to split them across 3 games because they're
We
also
could
working on
see
Mirror's Edge
something
too. I really
being
think
done
that
by somebody else.
yeah, most definitely, and I think that's the plan. So I'm not really sure. I really don't even want to think about it right now as to like what's going to come. Like I just want to get through Battlefield 4 and see like how it ends because I mean I think the ending is really what's going to set the pace for the next set of games to come out.
Isn't there also a rumor of a single player DLC or one of these DLCs having something to do with the single
Oh,
player?
I haven't seen that one. I don't
might
know.
just be
I'm
making
not
shit
sure.
up, but I think I
You
saw
might
something.
be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Naval Strike's going to be fun. It's going to keep us busy for a while.
I like it. I'm actually very happy with it. I have yet to kind of just like huff about it. I'm pretty.
So much of it
pleased
depends
with
on
it.
who you play with, because you play
Yes,
with, when you play with some people, when you play with some opinionated people.
Yeah, there definitely are different gamers that have different opinions. Like it all depends on the mindset you go into the game. Like if you go in thinking this is gonna suck, it's gonna suck. Like I've been trying to just go in by myself and play Carrier Assault and just feel it out for myself. And I've had a good time, and hopefully it can start to open it up to playing with more people and to get a better feel for it as a team. I think people could really enjoy this game mode. I really think people could enjoy this DLC.
Somebody in the chat asked, "Does PC not have lag issues in the?"
No,
in
there
Naval Strike?
there is rubber banding issues. It all depends on the server size you play on.
The very first game I jumped into, I had horrible rubber banding, and I was like, "Oh, please, no!"
It was the server that we were both on. It was a 64-man
awful.
server, Carrier Assault, and it was rubber banding like a bitch. And I had 63 ping. I remember it was
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
It was like 60, 63, and I was rubber banding very hard, and it was very frustrating. And then throughout the week, DICE came out and they said, "We understand you guys are having rubber banding issues. It's a server hardware issue, but I think that's mostly for console because I know on PS4 it's been a very big issue, but it's just Naval Strike."
Also, because they said we're going to upgrade the hardware.
They said they're going to upgrade the hardware, but I think it's only going to be for consoles because how can you have Total FPS and all those other guys? Like, how can you have them upgrade their hardware?
Right.
I don't
you
think
can't.
so.
I mean, EA is not going to go out to multiplay or game servers or whatever and be like, "Hey,
Yeah, or
we'll
Rival
get
or
some
any of them,
servers
yeah.
for you."
Right. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So-
Cookies mentioned something that I think we can close the podcast on, but it was something that came up this week, that GameSpy is ending its...
I saw
service
that. How depressing
in May, I
is
think.
that? How depressing is that? I mean, it's 2142, Battlefield 2. Those games will no longer have multiplayer support.
Is
That's it.
that... Do we know that is what's going to happen?
It's got to be because the infrastructure for their like the server, like actually like players finding the server is built through GameSpy.
It's all run through GameSpy, huh?
How crazy is that? It's like the end of an age, like the end of an era.
It's
when
not even that
GameSpy
old. I was playing Civ 5 the other day, and it is powered by GameSpy. It says so right in the loading screen.
It's crazy to think that. Yeah, Cookie said 1942. Yeah, 1942 is powered by GameSpy as well. Like, there's a lot of games that are powered by GameSpy, and for them to close house is kind of depressing. Like, I don't even remember the last game I touched that was powered by GameSpy, but there's a lot of old games that will no longer work anymore. At least in theory, they shouldn't work anymore. Battlefield 2 is powered by GameSpy.
So Battlefield 2 is just going to stop working?
It seems like they're at least in theory, the way it should work is that the way that the searching functionality for servers is powered through GameSpy. Like, those servers aren't housed on GameSpy.
No.
It's the actual like multiplayer server infrastructure for like finding servers.
They're
like
the hubs. Like right now in BF3
Right,
BF4, for
exactly.
example, EA's servers are the central repository that know about all the other servers out there. that people
Think of it
connect
like a brain. You've got a bunch of nerve
Yeah.
endings that go into a brain. Like GameSpy is the brain, and then you have all your tertiary systems that come up into the brain. So the brain's gonna die. It's gone.
No, I know. I don't think EA cares about them either. It's just an interesting theory, but it also poses the problem with a lot of these games now because
Is
Origin
Battlefield
services, Steam services, like so much relies on these services now,
right?
and there's nothing to say that EA won't. Obviously, I'm not saying this will happen, but there's nothing that if they say, you know what, this whole Origin strategy didn't work for us, we're just
Ew,
gonna
yeah.
shut that down.
I didn't think about that. Ew, that's kind of scary.
Well, that happened with the EA Download Manager thing. That was sort of the predecessor to Origin. I'm surprised that EA or somebody didn't just pick up GameSpy on the cheap.
Just eat it. Yeah, just kind of just take
keep
it
those
into it
services
and
going.
just.
I don't know.
I think that would have been a great idea.
I don't know how this will
Just absorb it into the
play
company.
out.
Like I'm sure they could have.
To the point of some people in the chat, it does make me feel old.
Yeah, doesn't it?
GameSpy.
Do you remember? You didn't have to actually go through the web browser or the in-game browser to find servers. You could actually load
GameSpy
up.
had a browser for all its supported
GameSpy
games.
had a software that you could run on your
GameSpy
computer.
Arcade.
Yeah, that's it. And you had your account. It was kind of like how Raptor works now, where it actually like logged all your different like play times and whatnot, and it categorized it, and you could launch your games through GameSpy. It was awesome.
So Xfire has a server browser. So maybe something like that can
Oh my
take the
God,
place of-
Xfire! I haven't played on Xfire in forever.
Dude, Xfire is still alive and well. They're doing new things, with tournaments
that's how we did
and stuff.
That's how we did comms for a long time. We had yeah.
There's still a Battlefield podcast Xfire group.
Is it really?
I think so.
Wow.
Because I keep having to delete it from my.
God, I feel so old.
But Xfire is still around. It does a lot of things. Well, they're trying to reinvent themselves because that kind of system is starting to. It used to give you all those benefits of a combined friends list,
But now it's
server
all
browser, screenshots, video recording
Yeah.
stuff. Now it's inside of Steam. It's inside of Origin.
right.
It's
right.
inside the games now. Like it's all built in.
Right,
So-
Nvidia has it built into the graphics card. You can record your gameplay through there now, and
Yeah, so it's all they all have to reinvent themselves, and I guess GameSpy, whoever owned GameSpy, just said, "Well, that's it for us."
that's crazy.
So, yeah, I don't know how that's. I really don't know how it's going to. There's still a lot of people playing BF2.
Yeah, there actually is. We went on it not too long ago, and there was actually a decent amount of servers that were still running. People still like playing old games. Some people can't. Some people don't have the money to actually upgrade to newer games, so they're stuck playing on older games.
Well, and a lot of those are still fun in a lot of different ways. Like there's still,
Right.
I mean, a lot of
There's-
people playing
there's-
Bad Company 2. Saw earlier in the chat, Bad Company 2 still has the best rush maps in the Battlefield series, in a lot of people's opinions.
I mean, that was the original. It was original Rush. I mean, that's where it
Was
came
it, or
from.
was it Bad Company 1?
Well, Bad Company 1 started it, but I'm saying the Bad Company
2 on the
saga,
PC.
like that started Rush. Like that's where a lot of the PC players came from, was Bad Company 2. So like that's
We
that
keep
was the
getting
first
asked for
iteration.
Phantom trainee tips in chat. I'm like, I have no idea.
got nothing for you, bruh.
Sorry.
Try Battlefield Podcast.
What?
I guarantee you that's the password. Try it.
That would be funny.
I tried. It didn't.
Where do you even go? I'm sorry. I feel like there's a website where you get entered in.
I don't know. I asked Doug to do it for us. Crash Rider.
Oh.
He said Battlefield Podcast didn't work.
No.
He said Mechanics Wear didn't work either. Or Gloves for Tags. He said that didn't work. Remember, Gloves for Tags every Tuesday. There you go, buddy. I did a little.
There's a Jack Frags figured it had something to do with he tweeted a random, not random, but just seemingly random letters, which were like the
Yeah, it's
first
like Scrabble.
capitalized letters from some of those poems that appeared.
Yes, I did see that.
I don't know if people have tried those yet, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. No idea.
Once it hits Twitter and YouTube, I'm just gonna go do it whenever they
I
figure it
usually
out.
just wait until somebody else figures it out, and then because like 100 people make YouTube videos about it, so
Yeah.
bound to figure it out at some point.
All right, I think it's time to wrap it up. Let's talk a little bit real quick about, since you mentioned YouTube, what we got going on the channel and Twitch and stuff like
Sure.
that. I know that, I think we've decided now that your Lowdown episodes are going to be every Wednesday.
I think Lowdown Wednesday is a lot better than Lowdown Monday. It gives me a little bit more freedom on the weekends because the production in general just takes a little bit longer with Lowdown than the other shows.
Well, it certainly does now that you've changed the format of it. It's all
Yeah,
webcams,
there's
so
a nice
lot more work
there's
involved.
a nice technical aspect to it that takes a little longer. So Lowdown on Wednesdays. So And then you have Fridays.
I have Fridays with his and hers. I think the next one is going to be our favorite engineer loadouts.
Cool.
And
then
every Saturday we alternate doing a live podcast and a live his and hers, and then that recording goes up on Mondays.
yeah, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays just is random,
sleep.
just like we sleep or we throw up a random like live stream highlight or something we want to talk about. But definitely Monday, Wednesday, Friday is always something on the channel.
Even if it's me trying to drive a hovercraft.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Dude, it was even worse. You should have seen that happen live. I was in tears. The fucking thing wouldn't turn to the right.
He needs to go back to Canada driving school.
We don't drive hovercraft.
Oh, you don't have a hovercraft?
No, I do want to plug Scanner Barkley's new PSA series because he just started that, and I think that video.
Oh yeah, it's actually really good. Yeah, it did really well. It's got like over 5,000 views on it. It was funny.
It's very good. We don't know when servers for Xbox come out.
They said early April. Like that was, it was supposed to have. It was honest to God, everyone was on the same page, and they're like, it's happening this week. The first week of April, like everyone was like, it's happening today.
The first week of April is just about over.
Like, but as soon as like April 1st or 2nd hit, everyone's like, it's happening today. We're gonna have it today. I'm like, all right, cool. That'd be fun to talk about. And
they need that so desperately. They need to have custom servers.
It has killed console comp players, like esport.
Well, not
console
just that
players
too, but there's
died.
I've heard from some of our friends have complained about how the servers that are up there, all the official servers, are 64-man servers on the PS4, and it just doesn't do well with 64-man servers.
Yeah.
So, the fact that you have so much variety on PC with servers because everybody's renting them and setting them up whichever way they want is something that's severely lacking on consoles. And it's really, to be honest, it's been insulting. If I was a console-only player, I would be pissed off that it's taken this long. They still don't have them. There's no excuse for that. None. They had it working with BF3. It's not like this is the first time that they're doing this.
The infrastructure, I'm sure, is a little different, but the core concept has to be the same. Like there can't be that much of a change for them to go,
No,
5 months later we can't give you.
Yeah.
We can't
and
give it to you.
I'm surprised that they don't, because it's got to be a revenue stream for them too.
Right, they have to make a good amount of money from it, I'm sure.
I heard the suggestion was made that the BF4 servers are so much more resource intensive than the BF3 ones, which is probably very true.
You got Levolution and whatnot, but still, like I would love to find out what the holdup is, because there's a lot of upset people.
And I think they've lost some people already at this point.
Very much so. I've seen a lot of people just say, fuck it, I'm going off to another game.
Anywho, any questions? Otherwise, I think we're going to be done for the podcast. I know you're going to be streaming some more Titanfall and stuff.
Maybe, yeah, but I think I might switch.
Not necessarily today, but tomorrow for sure. So you can follow Tim and be the 1,001st follower.
I already I hit 1,000. I'm so excited.
That's what is it? Twitch.tv/darkness. Is it underscore?
It's underscore because some bastard has darkness429. So it's darkness_429, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that always happens. Just give it a few years, and it will get. It'll get
like
released.
you did with Chalk1. It's no longer Chalk_1 anymore. It's now @Chalk1, which
I finally shed the underscore because that Twitter account finally got. I guess it got deleted because it's inactive or something like that. So thank you for everybody that participated in the chat and for hanging out. And this video will be up on YouTube on YouTube. It'll be up on YouTube on Monday, and it will be on iTunes on Monday as well, in audio-only version for those of you that like to mow the lawn while listening to us. Or that have to. I think that'll do it.
Awesome. It was fun.
Battlefieldpodcast.com for all the stuffs.
Yeah, that's the place to be, battlefieldpodcast.com.
And we will catch you all in 2 weeks for the next podcast, and on Twitch and YouTube all the way until then. Have a good Saturday evening and night.